left 100 in my FanDuel account and got a check for $1,350, I think it was. And I literally got the check in 4
Super Bowl,
days.
he almost won, 30?
Oh, my God.
He was like one play away from $30,000.
If Brady would have just completed that last pass instead of got sacked, I would have won.
I hate the Patriots. I'm so glad they lost.
That would have been 25.
Don't we all? Another one suspended. Did you see that? Julian Edelman. 4-game suspension.
Matter of fact, let's take our first break. We'll come back and talk about that and more on 1070 NBC Sports. Welcome back to the Larry Timko Show on 1070 NBC Sports. Rays back in action tonight. Game 2 of a 4-game set against the Seattle Mariners on a little bit of a losing streak, but I'm happy about one thing. Jake Bauers finally got the call up yesterday.
That's good.
Yes, and they designated Brad Miller for assignment.
Oh, really?
But can't we put the losing streak on the blame on the person who caused the losing streak? Eric?
Yeah, right.
We talked about him.
Talks about him for an hour last week.
500,
and then
we talked about it, and they haven't won since.
Nope.
So I think if you're a Rays fan, I think you should be contacting Eric.
Yeah. They're streaky, though. They'll
very
make a little
streaky.
run. They're very
All
streaky.
baseball is nowadays.
The Rays are. It's something about Tampa Bay. The Lightning were the same way. They'll win 4 in a row, then drop 4 in a row.
Yeah, that's true.
Now we're the Rays. They got on a hot streak, and now they're on a cold streak. No in between. No 500. So weird. But, so Brad Miller is now officially a free agent. And think about this. You could have Hanley Ramirez and Brad Miller at first and second base. Combined right now, they're hitting like 256 with 20-something home runs.
Yeah.
Combined. You know?
I think hoping Ramirez turns into something that's a pipe dream.
I'm thinking Hanley Ramirez has a PED drug test that did not pass, and nobody knows about it yet, and that's why the Red Sox cut him. That's why
it's a weird cut. It was a weird cut.
Yeah, and no one's picked him up yet, which is really odd.
It's a weird cut.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah. 256 with 9 home runs.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, not good for Boston, I guess. Not good enough for them. Obviously.
That team's a juggernaut.
I mean, I've heard that he's not the best clubhouse guy, but then I heard that people love him, so, I don't really know what to believe. But, I've heard, he says nightmare stories out there about him, though. So, who knows?
What nightmare stories?
Didn't he came from Miami, right? He's the one that came from Miami.
Miami, then the Dodgers.
Yeah. And then he went to, he's been in Boston 3 years now?
Something like that.
3 years.
He was originally drafted by Boston.
Yeah, but he was suspended his first year, and he had a whole bunch of stuff going on. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that.
I may be thinking of the wrong guy then. But
I don't remember him. I don't remember him ever. I just remember him being this underachiever.
You're thinking of Jose Reyes.
No.
I'll
have to look it up.
Who beat up his girlfriend or wife or whatever. I think that's why Colorado cut him.
Really?
And the Mets picked him back up. I think that's who you're thinking of, Jose Reyes.
What about the Mets? What a disaster.
That injury's really hurt them, man.
Yeah.
They've got no outfielders. They have to call up Tim Tebow at this point.
just for the ticket sales.
That too.
They called me last night, and I said, listen, guys, I can't. I'm in Port Charlotte. I'm in Basanis. I got 2 shows.
That's right. And matter of fact, for tickets to see the Midnight Swinger, log on to Bassani.net or call 941-629-9191 because this show always sells out quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
It'll be a good weekend.
Always.
One show tomorrow at 7 and one show tonight at 8:30.
8:30 tonight.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Come for dinner, stay for the show, and then afterwards, pictures and ice cream.
He'll be providing the ice cream.
Everybody gets a scoop of vanilla.
You're not going to be jumping out of a cake tonight, are you?
Now I am. And now I almost have to.
Nice. No doubt. I mean, might as well go see you because the basketball game tonight's going to suck.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't want to talk to Eric about this, but I'll talk to you, Larry, because I know how he feels. Do you think they sweep tonight? Do you think LeBron has a little bit of pride left and comes out with just drops 60 on them? My honest opinion, I've been saying this all week long, is that Golden State was going to go up 3-0, but because the NBA is a little tainted like WWE, in my opinion, I think Cleveland's going to come storming back to tie this series up. Okay, how much money do you have in your wallet right now? I don't have no money. Okay, well, whatever money you have in your wallet, I lost it all last night on the Vegas game. I will tell you right now, no way does Cleveland come back and win 3 straight. It's just not going to happen. No. All right, I think Cleveland wins tonight, I think Cleveland wins by about 25. What? I think it's a blowout. I think Golden State wants to win on their own court. I think Cleveland loses by 15 today. Really? Yeah. I'll take that bet. I'm going to stick with my original prediction. 25? No, you said 15. Yeah. I'll take 15. They have 5 All-Stars. I would love to take Cleveland in plus 15. I'll take that bet any day of the week. I'll take the opposite. I'll take your bet. I'll give you 10 points. Yeah. Well, I said yesterday Cleveland will win by double digits tonight. They win by a shot at the last minute. They're not. I don't think so. There's no way they're blowing them out. I think if Cleveland is up by 10. or more in the fourth quarter, Golden State will shut it down.
Yeah.
And then they will go on
and
to win.
You know who's not going to be watching?
You.
Me. Yeah, I could care less.
I know, me neither.
You know, and it's just 4 years in a row.
Let me just tell you right now.
His argument is, that happened in the 80s. Happened one time.
Nope.
Back to back in the 80s.
What, the Pistons?
One time back to back in the 80s.
But
the same team played each other. One time.
But Lakers
and
went
that
to
was
the finals
Lakers Celtics.
So the Lakers went to the finals 3 years in a row.
They played different teams. Of course, I like dynasties. I just want to see other teams play. It's boring. It's the same thing every year. It's terrible.
You want to see
this is not good for basketball.
You want to see Eric's head explode?
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard's going to join the Warriors next year.
No, they're talking LeBron.
So is LeBron.
They're talking LeBron joining the Warriors.
No,
LeBron.
I think LeBron goes to Philly.
No, he's talking about joining the Warriors.
I think it's
there's no way he goes to Lakers. Not with Ball there. Not with Ball there.
He can control Ball.
No, it's not the player. It's the
Ball's
father.
going to get traded to Boston for Kyrie Irving.
That'll never happen. Boston is going to be. Here's the reason Cleveland is in the finals. Here's the reason Cleveland's in the finals. Okay, Boston got decimated with injuries, and yet they still brought Cleveland to 7 games. I think Boston is I think Boston is your next big monster out of the East.
I said that this year. I thought Boston was going to win.
And you would have been right.
Yeah. Kyrie and Hayward didn't get hurt.
And they would have
that was my preseason prediction.
They would have steamrolled the East. They would have steamrolled.
The East is soft.
Yeah, the East
they would have steamrolled it. There's not a team in the East.
It's been soft for. When was the last time the East was good?
Relevant?
Yeah.
When they were the Miami Heat?
Yeah,
Miami Heat.
Besides the Heat, though, who were the Heat playing? Not too many teams. Not too many strong teams. You know, they haven't been.
Well, they haven't
been deep. Well, you know what I mean? You could go top 7 or 8 teams in the West for the past 10, 15 years. Definitely would have been the top 7 or 8 teams in the East.
Well, you have to remember
have
to remember what happened to basketball. All right, it was a grind it, bump and grind, bruising type of league, and then they spread out the floor. And the West embraced the spread offense. It's the same thing. You can make the argument for football, where the black and blue division can't catch up. Why Detroit, Chicago, Philly up until this year. The Redskins, they can't compete with the West Coast offense because of the spread now. The East, for some reason, just cannot seem to embrace the openness. And the same, you can even say the same for hockey. Yeah. Look at the teams that are the Detroit Red Wings, the Chicago Blackhawks, the St. Louis Blues. These are bump and grind, blood on the glass. But yet on the new teams, the expansion, the West and the South, they've embraced this open offense. So the teams are able to find the niche and go with the flow and see that the league is changing are the ones that are successful. And why Golden State has exploited they didn't do anything wrong. They exploited the rule.
They were great when they drafted all their players, and then all of a sudden, Kevin Durant joins them.
Bill and I did the other day is we took the Bulls and Jazz series when the Bulls won it and compared it with this series game by game. And what we noticed is they didn't call fouls back in the 90s. There's very little free throws.
You go back to the 80s with the Detroit Pistons.
Right. And also 3-point shots were unheard of. I think the Bulls took a total of 9 shots that game from the three.
If you started,
the Utah Jazz took 11.
They didn't allow uncontested threes back then. You had to actually get open.
Yeah.
You had to, it was, Steve Kerr in the corner.
And scored
but
100 points.
You had to get open. Now you there's no hand checking. And hand checking was huge back then. So you can be right up on them, hitting their hands. Now you're back off and they can just pop up and shoot it. You know what I mean? That actually, for basketball, it hurt it a lot. I don't enjoy it as much as I did as a kid. I liked the rumble tumble. I like I don't like this. Right. I like defense.
The Bulls won that series in 6, and they only scored 100 points in one game.
Yeah, and I like it.
That was the only time.
That's fun.
Everybody else was held.
They weren't all best friends either.
Oh no,
they hated each other, and I hated the other team. It was now it's just not the same basketball that I grew up and I loved, and I didn't miss a playoffs. Growing up, didn't miss it. I haven't watched the playoffs in 3 or 4 years. I've literally maybe watched 2 or 3 games a year.
Well, that's why I hated Detroit, but I loved watching them because they were such a dirty team. I watched Bill
more
Laimbeer
golf.
And Isaiah Thomas.
I watched more golf than the NBA.
Really?
Definitely.
I can't say that.
By a large.
No, golf is unwatchable.
Golf
is unwatchable. Completely unwatchable. It's completely unwatchable.
The NBA, they lost me. I watched it a lot in the early 2000s. I really liked Sacramento. I never really lived in a.
Wait, you like Sacramento? That was a run and gun 3-point team also.
They were rumble, tumble.
And we talked about this, too. The rules have changed, too. You're allowed to take that extra step, which is kind of traveling now.
Back
then.
Jordan, everybody travels.
That's true.
The 3-point arc is closer now than it was back then too. They moved it up, remember?
Yeah.
So that to elevate the scoring. So I don't know. It was just a different type of game.
It was.
Then.
But it was fun though. It was fun.
I think it comes down to, with everything, if you talk generational, and obviously you, Eric, are now at the generation where you're yelling at kids to get off your lawn and you're not going to give them the Frisbee back because you remember X, Y, Z.
No, you can't yell at kids right now. They'll call the cops.
But yet our parents will talk about how weak and soft players are that we liked. You're like, oh, that Barkley was weak, or that Jordan was weak. Yeah, soft. Because it's all generational. Because what we have got to realize is that we are now the generation where we are reminiscing about our past.
I get what you're saying. You can say that, but there's physical proof now. You know what I mean?
Right, because
the 70s and 80s were just as hard. My dad watched in the 70s. I watched basketball in the 80s and 90s. They changed rules to make it softer. You know what I mean?
Right, because
I'm going to be nostalgic. You're talking nostalgia. I'm saying they changed the rules
because
they
got tired of seeing star players go down for the season with a leg injury.
Who was going down for the season?
Joe Theismann busts his leg.
Yeah.
Tom Brady goes down. These players are getting
Michael
concussions.
Jordan didn't get hurt once to go down for a season.
Yes, he did.
Ewing did.
Yes, he did.
When did he go down for a season?
Second year in the league. He went down for an entire year.
He didn't go down for a
Yes,
whole
he
year.
did. Go look it up right now. Go look it up.
That was what? I think it was 19. I think he got drafted 84. So
it was 85 or 86. He missed almost an entire season because of an ACL or something. My point being is that the league does not want.
Second season was cut short when he broke his foot in the third game of the year, causing him to miss 64 games.
Thank you.
So
I don't know why you guys are arguing with me. I told you I'm an encyclopedia of sports knowledge.
Still,
no, but don't tell me.
Don't
tell me. Still,
yeah.
My point being is that the league is generating revenue. That's a bad attitude because the league is trying to generate revenue. It's a star-driven league, and when players are getting hurt, you're look at the baseball players when a great pitcher goes down or a great hitter goes down, or because of a stupid injury at home plate. Like, I can't believe they're not allowing the guy to run over the catcher at home plate. Yet Buster Posey busts his leg by a cheap play, and he misses the World Series.
I've seen some of the worst injuries in basketball in the last 3 years. I mean, they're still getting hurt. What, George?
Oh, yeah,
that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. What about the Celtics guy this year? Mm-hmm. I mean,
Hayward.
The guy from Chicago hasn't played his whole career. There's still injuries.
Butler.
There's still going to be injuries. You know,
injuries. Yes, injuries happen. There's no doubt about it. But look at the percentage of big-time injuries from now to 10 years ago, and they are drastically reduced.
You have to show me that proof. You can say
look at the NFL.
I don't
All right.
it. Yeah.
But if we're going to go that route, I mean, look at the 50s and 60s. You didn't hear about hamstring injuries and Tommy John
because there was no technology for it.
All right, but so they played through the pain. Those guys didn't miss games,
right? And look at their status of life afterwards.
Good point.
All right. I mean, we as fans want to see the Gladiators beat each other up, but we don't care what happens at their home life. We don't care.
We just lost Dwight Clark.
We don't care. We don't care what happens to them when they're not playing sports because they're no longer on the field. These people are retired in their 30s and 35, and they've got 60 years of misery. But we don't care about them. We don't see a guy.
I mean, that's more. That's more NFL, not NBA.
No,
know what I mean?
And baseball,
look at baseball. Look at hockey players. Look at some of the old-time hockey players.
But NBA,
hockey may be one of the most violent sports. I think hockey, and I'll argue this, is probably more violent than the NFL. Because of the speed and the hitting.
The hitting, but the difference in the NFL is a lot of little hits. Yeah. And those add up. A lot of those little
Here's
hits
an example.
at the line.
I met Steve Carlton. He looks like he could still pitch. This was like a month ago.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I met Russ Grimm, the offensive lineman for the Washington Redskins. I felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
He could barely walk.
Yeah. And these are men that we cheered. And now we're saying, they're soft. The new players are soft. No, if I'm in comedy, I don't want to be in comedy for 7 years and then not be able to walk or
you're
talk.
You're changing sports. None of us is saying the
way you do your shows, though, I wonder sometimes.
I'm saying the NBA players are soft.
There are many players. There are many people. Many people who think the NFL is soft now.
Right.
Many people.
Just for the record, nobody can do your comedy for 7 years and not get hurt.
Or Dale Jones.
No one can shove marshmallows in their mouth for as long as I've been shoving marshmallows in my mouth.
Look at Dale Jones dislocating his knee on stage. A year ago.
Yeah.
And they had to go through it.
Yeah,
I had to finish the show.
Yeah.
Well, no,
and you're more energy than that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a hip. I mean, I've been to the Mayo Clinic. I've got a hip replacement coming up in 7 years. I've been told my hip is gone. And but my point being is that I understand, Eric, your point of view that you want to see the rough and tumble. And my point of view is that I want to see these guys play for 20 years. And I want to enjoy the artistry.